Someone has mentioned in the comments that it said that what to do when the life is becoming unfair, and what to do when life is not going in my way. Well, we are going to talk about this today. First of all, remember the nature of our life. What is the nature of our life? Life is a little bit unfair. That is the real nature. But the problem is we expect that everything in our life to be perfect and to be fair. That is the problem. That is where the real problem is. Because Buddha said, if you have expectations, if you have more and more expectations inside yourself, chances are very high for you to feel so stressed. So remember that expectations stands for suffering. If you expect the life to be fair, you will suffer, right? So the nature of our life is, it is a little bit unfair. So how to face such situations, how to face unfair situations in our life? Well, I want you to do 3 things when you face tough situations in your life, right? These are very simple, but yet when you practice it, it is very hard to do that, but you can achieve it. Number 1, first of all, you need to realize what the situation is. That is the first thing that you have to do. If you're going through a hard time, right, you need to analyze about that and see what the problem is. Well, there are 2 types of situations in our life. What is that? First type of situation is the situations which are in our control, experiences which can be changed by ourselves, right? And the second type of situation is the situations which are out of our control. We cannot do many things about that situation, right? So these are the 2 types of situations that we go through in our life. So first of all, you need to analyze and you need to see what the problem is, whether it is in my control or out of my control. Right? When you realize about the situation, then you can do something about that situation. Okay? That is the first thing you have to do. Analyze the situation. Number 2, if it is a situation that is in your control, just do something to change that situation. So what are the things that are in our control? What are the situations and experiences that we face in our life and which are in our control? Well, if you face a bad time, if you face a stressful situation because of your own faults, because of a mistake that is within yourself, then you can change it. Because we own our mistakes. We are the owners of our mistakes, and the mistakes can only be changed by ourselves. No one can change that. Someone can advise you, someone can show you the path, but no one can make it correct than you. So what you have to do, you have to change the situation. If it is your mistake, correct it. If it is your fault, then do something about it to change that situation. So these are the things that are in our control. Remember. Here's the third one. When we face the situations that are out of our control, how to face that situation? Well, these are the situations we spend most of our time trying to change that, but we cannot do anything about that situation. So what are the situations which are out of our control? There are many things, right? Criticism is out of your control. People's opinions, they are out of our control. How people behave in front of you is totally out of your control. They are their choices, not your own choice. But we try to change these situations and we become so sad and depressed, trying to change, and we find that we cannot change this situation. So if you cannot change the situation, what you have to do? You have to change your perspective about the situation, right? You can change the perspective about the situation, because the perspective and the way you see that about that situation is totally in your control, because your thoughts are in your control, right? So what you need to do is, if you cannot change the situation, change the perspective, change the way you see about that situation. Okay? So remember, when people act weird in front of you, when people try to make you angry, when people criticize you, right? When people give unwanted opinions about you, just think, these things are out of my control. I should not waste my time of my life to change these situations. It is much better to change my perspective about this situation. So how can you change the situation? How can you change the perspective? You can be kind to them, right? You can maintain a positive mindset inside you, right? It is much better to maintain a positive mindset daily, every day, right? Listen to some things, positive words every day. It is much better to do that, because the more you listen to the positive words, positive ideas, right? Then the more you become positive inside, right? Then you can change your perspective about the situation. That is what you can do. Always remember what Buddha said. It is a nice quote that Buddha said that describes about the life. Buddha said, Achinti tampi bhavati, chinti tampi vinasati. That is one of the greatest and one of the nicest quotes that Buddha have told about the life. In life, Buddha said, Achinti tampi bhavati. Most of the times, unexpected things happen. Isn't that true? We don't know what will happen in the next time, right? It is a mystery. So in life, always unexpected things happen. And the things that we expected will going to be destroyed, right? If we expect something, we don't get the same thing. That is the thing. So remember that quote that was said by the Buddha. Achinti tampi bhavati, chinti tampi vinasati. Right? And there's another quote that was said by the Buddha. Sadharanang vihanyanti. If you expect the life to be fair, chances are more that for you to suffer in your life. So live with less expectations, right? If you are going through a tough situation, just analyze the situation, realize about the situation, and if you can change the situation, do something about it. If you cannot do something about the situation, change your perspective. That is what you can do when the life is not going in your way. So make your life a peaceful one with the teachings. Namo Buddhaya.